And we're live.
Let's talk about that a bit. Hulk Hogan dropped the fuck. Hulkmania has been running wild all week, all over Gawker, and it serves them right for their nasty tabloid journalism, their sexist, nasty tabloid journalism. I love when they show the disparity that came up when Jennifer Lawrence's nudes were leaked. The Gawker's point of view was, oh no, shocker, Jennifer Lawrence's nudes are out there, and some websites won't take them down. But then when it's Hulk Hogan, they're like, here's Hulk Hogan's tape. We won't take it down. And so it serves them right. $150 million plus $25 million in punitive damages. That can be reduced, but they don't. That guy's got $3 million in assets outside of Gawker, so he's going to have one hell of a time funding the legal process going forward and the appeals process.
Did you see the question that was asked that creepy guy, like the Gawker guy? Like I saw the video. Okay, the lawyer was like, is there any celebrity sex tape that you think is not newsworthy? And he goes, if it's a child. And the lawyer's like, under what age? And he straight up says 4. And I got goosebumps over my entire body. Chills went down my spine. I was like, I am looking at a fucking psychopath. I was just like, Hulk Hogan.
Who said this?
Yeah,
no, the guy who runs Gawker or whatever.
So they're what's the thing called when he's like in front of the grand jury or whatever? Like they're taking his testimony, they're recording him, they're video recording him, getting his statement or whatever about this deposition. Thank you. And they ask him that question, and he jokingly kind of says, if it's under 4 years old, that'd be inappropriate for a celebrity sex tape. And when they got to trial, they brought that back up and they grilled him over it. They said, could you read back what you said? And he's like, well, I was making a joke. You were making a joke about a 4-year-old child's sex tape.
Yeah.
Well, yes, and you thought that was funny. Well, I was being sarcastic. And then they go into they talk about the deposition process. They're like, you had opportunities to change this testimony. You were asked, to go back and review and see if you were happy with everything. That video camera that was recording you, was it hidden? He's like, no. So you knew that you were on videotape saying that, they really grilled him over that, and that was probably part of the decision that they were looking at this guy and being like, "This guy is a piece of shit."
He's kind of a creepy motherfucker, yeah.
But it was a sarcastic remark, right? Like
it was a sarcastic.
It was an
remark.
inappropriate time to make one.
Yeah, not a good time.
It was an inappropriate time to make a sarcastic remark when you're being deposed during when Hulk Hogan's suing you.
I'd say the worst time. Yeah.
I'm a Hulk Hogan fan. I watched wrestling as a kid when I was 4 or 5 with my grandpa. I liked Hulk Hogan. I like his whole shtick. I like the things that he does. He was sleeping with his buddy's wife. His buddy wanted him to sleep with his wife. It was that kind of an arrangement, and and he was secretly recorded, and then that was uploaded. And then because of that, there's only like 9 seconds of actual sex, but there's one part where he goes on this rant about how his daughter Brooke is dating a black guy, and he doesn't like that, and he says the N-word, and that got him fired from WWE. So his lawsuit it's all come full circle now, and I'm glad to see him kind of get what he deserves as far as I'm concerned. And fuck Gawker.
I'm kind of like separated from all of the story of it. All I know is just certain things I've heard, and all I know is I've heard quite a bit of people just come out saying, "Look, I know this guy. He's not racist." It's a terrible moment in his life that was filmed and recorded, and that's the danger of celebrity. I mean, you go everywhere and you're photographed. I mean, if you got caught picking your nose, like it's national news. Emma Stone caught picking nose at Starbucks, and you know what I mean. So it's one of those things where you sympathize. You're like, you don't condone what you're like. You probably shouldn't have said that, and with that tone. But you also sympathize with the fact that being recorded almost constantly has got to be rather difficult.
Yeah, I don't like that when anyone gets in trouble for something they said in a private conversation. It seems like you should be able to think or say anything you want in a private conversation, even if it's literally hate speech. If you and I are just sitting here talking, obviously right now we're being recorded and this is going out to hundreds of thousands of people eventually, but if you and I were privately having a conversation, I should be able to say anything I want, no matter how hateful it is, and that shouldn't have any repercussion on my job outside of you and outside of our private conversation. And that's why when that stuff happened to Donald Sterling, and when this happened to Hulk Hogan, I'm just like, well, this is bullshit. I didn't like it at all, and I'm glad to see the Hulkster get paid off, because he's had a rough time of it with his wife, and he's had a rocky few years.
The only news I've heard about him is how he keeps falling deeper into this rock bottom pit, and then finally to see, like, all right, well, something went his way, even if he doesn't end up. I read some comment that said, I think it was on Reddit, so it probably doesn't mean jack shit, but it was like, oh, well, here's a kind of layman explanation of why he's not going to get any of this money. Maybe that's true, but I hope he at least drains Gawker of quite a bit and really makes it difficult for that to be a site.
Can you sum it up, like why he wouldn't get that money?
I couldn't even begin to. It was something about how Gawker could reattribute their resources to some other company that they're owned by. I don't know, but I don't know. If this is like a real blow to Gawker, that'd be great. That website sucks ass.
I saw Hulk tweeted out that photo of like him in the 80s or 90s, like doing the flying elbow drop on a on the Gawker emblem or whatever. He's like, oh, coming from the top ropes, blonde hair flying, that hot dog skin of his glowing in the lights.
Have you seen all those images of him photoshopped into different places? There's so many, and it's just so awful, of images of him photoshopped, like kicking down the World Trade Centers and like flying through the Pentagon, like just everything that's ever exploded. And there's a picture of online. He's kicking somewhere.
Wrestling used to be legitimate entertainment. I feel like some of those characters that were created back in the day, like the Macho Man Randy Savage. Oh yeah! He's slapping to that Slim Jim. He's got them glasses on.
Can I tell you? The best thing I've ever seen of Randy Savage? Someone did a compilation video of every time that guy takes a breath. And it's incredible. It's like, ooh, yeah, I'm at the boiling point. And then it just shows him going like, and it's like all these cuts of him like taking like breaths. His veins are popping out. It's amazing. You got.
He was such a show.
I'm not sure what the title is, but it's a great video.
He's the Macho Man Randy Savage. That guy was fucking hilarious. He was a great entertainer. I liked watching him. The Rock was really good. That's why The Rock transcended wrestling and became such a great movie star, is because he would get in the center stage and pick up that microphone and he would entertain the crowd. He would talk great smack against the guys he's going to beat up. He would tell jokes. I've seen him get out there with guitar and sing songs. He's just very talented, and you could really get behind him. And he had catchphrases and the people's elbow and can you smell what The Rock is cooking? And it was great.
Steve Austin
I love Steve Austin was good. He went for a different demographic though. He's that beer guzzling redneck big old good old boy kind of audience, and they love that shit. I saw Steve Austin a few months back. He was in my town. They were filming some kind of reality show. I don't know what they were doing, but we saw him at a restaurant. He's a big dude. Funny.
I'm curious about, because you watched wrestling as a kid. Did you always know it was fake, or did you kind of pick that up later?
I think as a 4-year-old, I thought it was real because, like...
Because you're 4, yeah.
Yeah, and they would, 4 or 5, and they would have these, like... If you watch... I don't even know what the programming's like anymore, and as a 5-year-old, I don't know what I was watching, but they would have, like, these long segments where they would interview the wrestlers, and, like there would be no fighting. There would just be them talking for long periods of time, and oftentimes they'd be wearing masks or makeup. It'd be, like, Sting or some luchador motherfucker, and, like, as a kid, you're like... All right, it's like a Power Ranger or something. All right, okay, all right, fuck yeah, he's fucking a luchador. What a badass, Okay, that guy wears face paint. That's what he's about.
When I was a kid, they denied it was fake. Like all those things you see of like the wrestlers hitting the reporters and stuff. That was my childhood. Like it broke that it was fake, and the way that it broke, if I remember right, I was young, was they had to go on TV as either sports or entertainment. And they weren't allowed to go on as sports anymore. And that was when they had to finally just, like, give up the truth and say, yeah, all right, it's entertainment. And
Yeah,
but who was really believing
the adults who were still really believing really needed to take a good look at themselves. Because they do that move where, like, you like, put your hand on the other guy's head, and then you just do this. And just, like You can,
but there's some
we've
real
all
stuff
seen
in
the
there
UFC.
too.
We know what happens when big men actually meet in a ring and start throwing down. Blood is flying rather quickly.
But blood flies in wrestling too.
You're unconscious, broken bones, you're fucked. Mm-hmm. But these guys are doing it every night of the week. We'll be in Charlotte, North Carolina throwing down tonight. We'll be in Atlanta, Georgia on Tuesday.
3 shows on Wednesday. Yeah.
What if you break your leg, Holster? I'll be all right.
I think the most damaging thing they do to themselves is just trying to pull off all the crazy stunts, and then their off-camera life of the working out and the all that stuff is really what kills them. I think. Yeah.
So many of those wrestlers died young from if you check a list, it's like some of them are like 31 years old and their cause of death is a heart attack because some of these guys in the 80s were just doing so much cocaine and just screaming at a mix of kind of immature adults and weird children every night, like, "Oh, I'm gonna take you down." It's like their veins are popping, like they're starting to collapse because they can't inject any more drugs because they're just.
Ric Flair had a heart attack in the ring.
Yeah.
Ric Flair was one of my favorites too. Like, he's not even a intimidating looking guy with that blonde hair and everything, but he's like Cadillac driving, private plane flying, son of a gun, and he had his backup man, Dusty Rhodes. It was all
seen
very.
Any of the videos of the wrestling fails, when they introduce a new wrestler and it's a complete failure, or they something goes wrong when the Hulkster or whatever. I never watched it, but I watched the clip where he forgot his lines once when he was yelling at the guy who owns it. What's that guy's name again?
Vince McMahon.
He was yelling at Vince McMahon, and he just lost himself on one line, just yelling over and over like, "If you actually believe that I would leave this company, then if you believe that I would leave after all of this, McMahon, that you don't even know what I would do to stay." And it's like, what? He just completely forgot all his lines, and he's screaming about it. Oh, it's so funny.
It'd be funny if Vince was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
"You're over, Hogan," and he's just screaming like him. I think Vince McMahon is a genius. That guy is hilarious. Screaming when he gets slammed by Trump.
He owns all of those people, right? All those people that he produces, like The Rock and John Cena, he's still getting big chunks of them, right? There's a reason why The Rock doesn't call himself The Rock anymore. He has to be The Rock. He can't be Rock or something like that. He has to do one or the other. But I know Vince McMahon still takes a big chunk of John Cena's movies and all that stuff. Anybody that comes through his program.
Oh, yeah, a lot of those movies are produced by the WWE production company now, the Marine 7 starring John Cena. It's they get a chunk of that.
I don't get why he never hands the ball off. There's a point there where McMahon is like, "All right, you just let me talk for a minute." Like he steps in and is like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" Trying to give him a second to compose himself, and Hogan's like, "No, you listen to you can't actually think that and he just keeps running with it deeper and deeper. I love that.
That's embarrassing. That poor guy. Well, he's got maybe he'll be worth $140 million extra dollars soon. He won't have to do that anymore because he's clearly a little past his prime there. He's not. I remember seeing him body slam Andre the Giant though. That was awesome. The guy weighed 550 pounds or something.
He was picked a weak slam though.
You ever seen those pictures online of that dude holding a beer can, a normal sized beer can?
He put an egg through his fucking wedding ring.
What?
That guy was
it's a crazy
giant.
Picture. It's like he's holding it like this,
Yeah.
Like a teacup.
He could drink incredible amounts of alcohol.
And he
did. No shit. He weighed 600 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah. I love him in The Princess Bride. That's great.
Oh, yeah.
It's a shame you get to act more.
Anybody want a peanut?
He apparently drank 145 beers in one night, or 150 beers in a night at some hotel, passed out, and the hotel staff couldn't move him because he weighs as much as a baby elephant, and so they just put a carrier rug over him.
You think he could beat Wade Boggs' record?
What's Wade Boggs' record? I know it's baseball.
Is that a real beer can?
Wade Boggs drank 170 beers on a flight cross country, and then went 3 for 4.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that's a true thing. It's a true story. He actually did.
Yeah, well, he wouldn't have been. There's no way he could even fit on a plane, barely. But he could have drank that many beers easily. He would have crushed the Wade Boggs challenge.
Yeah. I like Andre the Giant. I always liked him in the wrestling because he was kind of a gentle giant. Like he had a hard time being mean to people. He was like, "Well, you're a big dummy." It's like, all right then, Andre. And they had this whole thing. They had this bit where like, I don't know. It was like Andre. I think it was Andre, and he was beefing with some other wrestler, and they like disrespected the other's like father's funeral and drug the casket behind a car down the road. It was all ridiculous. Yeah. Wrestling's always been pretty interesting. They put on a show. I don't watch that shit, to be honest.
Can you imagine being so mad at someone that you dragged their father's corpse in their casket down the road like some sort of ancient war chieftain who just conquered another tribe?
You'd have to be pretty angry at him
over wrestling.
Look at. Could you show everybody this? This thing just sent us, because it's staggering. The
tail of the tape.
Yes, 7'4", 524 pounds, a 71-inch chest, 21-inch biceps. Although Hulk Hogan's biceps 24 inches. That's why I knew that. I knew he's always talking about the 24-inch pythons.
Hulk Hogan looks like a small guy in that picture, and he's huge.
Yeah, he's a big boy. 6'8". I didn't know Wow, I didn't know Hulk Hogan was that big.
Well, that's not true. There's no way.
I don't think this is true.
Is this true?
No, Andre the Giant was like 7'2" or 7'4" or something.
Or 7 foot flat, maybe.
No, he was taller than that, because I think he was taller than Wilt Chamberlain, and Wilt Chamberlain was like 7'1".
Okay.
He had 9-inch wrists. Hulk did.
9-inch wrists.
Hulk Hogan's 6'7".
Wow.
But is he?
If you actually believe that I'm 6'7",
if you actually think that,
and you believe, one time, so you really understand.
Let me just start over. Is what he's really saying.
Let's get a reset. Yeah. He's 7'4" for real. Yeah, that's a like forced perspective though, that photo, because he's standing in front of everyone. That's a literal. Unless, where is he, in the Philippines?
Well, I know what it looks like when Kerry Yules jumps on his back, and that's enough for me to know he's a giant. The guy's enormous.
Have you? There's a Reddit, and it's just called like Yao Ming standing next to things, and some of the things he stands next to are also really tall people, where you're like, wow, that puts a real perspective on, because he's like. When he stands next to Shaq looks like a decently tall guy. Like, you wouldn't look at him and think that it was out of control, because Yao Ming is just...
You just reminded me, when I was a kid, I used to watch the NBA. I watched the Chicago Bulls and stuff when Jordan was playing, and I always thought, I was like, all those guys look pretty normal, And then, all of a sudden, I saw Muggsy Bogues come in there. And Muggsy Bogues is one of the shortest basketball players of all time. And I was like, who is that guy? Like, what is he doing? And then I remember I saw a video of, like, NBA players with other people. And, as a kid, I was like, oh, so they're all really tall. That's why they all look normal.